He actually tried to take her bear, like physically grab the Build-A bear she just made. Why? Because his wife had the audacity to take their daughter out for cheesecake and a spa day while he and the two boys were off at Six Flags on a boys' trip. Triplets, by the way. Mark, Liam, and Abby. And Abby got left behind, so Mom decided to spoil her instead. And now the dad's furious. Cold shoulder to both of them. For what? So here's what happened. Okay, so here's the setup. Mom is 43, Dad Josh is 45, and they have triplets, all 14 years old. Mark, Liam, and Abby, two boys, one girl. And last Friday, Josh decides on a whim to take Mark and Liam to Six Flags. Just the boys. Spontaneous trip, no big planning. Mom says she doesn't even like amusement parks anyway, so she wasn't bothered about not being invited. Fair enough, right? But here's where it gets messy. Abby asks if she can come too, and the brothers say no, straight up. It's a boys' trip, they tell her. You'll ruin the vibe. And Dad, he doesn't push back. He doesn't say, hey, maybe she can come. He just lets it happen. So Abby's sitting there feeling completely left out, and Mom sees this. She feels terrible for her daughter, so she decides, fine. You guys go do your boy thing, we'll do our own thing. Saturday rolls around and Mom takes Abby to the Cheesecake Factory, their favorite spot, then a local spa, then a mini shopping spree at the mall, only about $150, not crazy. Mom pays for everything because she just got a nice bonus and didn't really know what else to do with it. And honestly, Abby lights up. They even have this sweet moment at Build-A Bear, making bears together. Each of them makes one. It's cute, it's bonding. Mom probably feels like she salvaged the whole weekend. Sunday they do brunch too, nothing over the top, just quality time. Then the boys come home Sunday night, and Abby's excited, like genuinely happy. She wants to tell her dad all about the awesome weekend she had with Mom, and that's when everything flips. Josh gets angry, not annoyed, not confused, angry. He confronts Mom and basically says, "You shouldn't have done that." Mom asks why, and his explanation. He says he refused to let Abby go on the boy trip in the first place, and that Mom shouldn't get Abby used to special treatment just because she wasn't included in something. Wait, what? So according to him, excluding her is fine, but making her feel better about being excluded, that's the problem. Mom pushes back. She asks why it bothers him so much, especially since she knows he'd do the exact same thing for the boys if roles were reversed. And Josh won't give her a real answer, just keeps saying it's not right. He won't explain further. Then it gets weirder. He actually tries to take Abby's bear, like reaches for it. Mom has to physically stop him. He's cold to both Mom and Abby after that. Won't talk, won't engage, just silent treatment. And Mom is sitting there thinking what just happened. So she goes online and asks, "Am I the a-hole?" And here's the thing. The answer is pretty obvious. The narrator in the original script basically says, "No, of course you're not the a-hole. What's up with your husband?" Excluding his daughter for no good reason, and then getting mad when she had a really nice weekend with you. Instead of being happy his daughter got quality time with her mom, he's punishing both of you. And that thing about trying to take the bear away, that's just petty. What the hell is wrong with him? Honestly, I don't know what Josh is resenting here, but it's definitely not something healthy. His whole attitude is just rotten. And the fact that he's gone silent, that's usually proof that he knows he's wrong. He owes his daughter an apology and both of them an explanation. So yeah, not the a-hole, not even close. But this is just the beginning, because as you'll see, the story doesn't stop here. Things get way more intense. So the original post goes up, and the community absolutely does not hold back. Let me read you some of the top comments because honestly, they nail it. First up, Embarrassed Advice 59. And they just come right out and say it. Your husband is being a sexist hypocrite. No, this is not okay for either of your children. He's building room for resentment to take root. He excluded your daughter from a trip, but got mad when you took her out to cheer her up. Yeah, you have a problem. And it's your husband. Ouch, but accurate, right? Then you've got Answer the Walrus, who takes it a step further. They say, not the a-hole. Your husband has some kind of issue with your daughter. Sexist, gender disappointment that he didn't get a whole batch of boys. Whatever it is, it's not okay to treat your daughter as an outsider. He didn't spontaneously plan that trip. He intentionally planned a trip for just his boys. He's mad that you didn't neglect her as well. Seems like to him only the boys matter. And then they add an edit that's just brutal. They reread the post and they're like, wait, he tried to take her bare. He has serious issues with your daughter. And I'm saying your daughter because he is not treating her like his child. That last line hits hard, doesn't it? Then Lizotte chimes in with something that really makes you think. They say, this is alarming behavior, to be honest. If they're allowed boy trips, why are girl trips not allowed? Unless he can give a better explanation, the only reason he's against this is because he wanted her to feel excluded. So why does he insist his daughter feel excluded? Does he hate her or something? Is this the first time he's treated her as less than when it comes to all the kids? And here's where it gets even more concerning. Op actually responds to Lizotte. She says he refuses to explain why and just says it's not right and won't explain further. I don't know if he hates her, but I am wondering now. And wondering why would he treat her this way? Then she drops this detail that she'd kind of glossed over before. There have been other times where he'd take the boys somewhere extravagant and then take Abby somewhere less than exciting after. Like taking the sons camping for the whole weekend and then taking Abby to Denny's to make it up. Denny's. After a weekend of camping. You see the difference there? She says Abby always seemed to appreciate it, so she thought he put thought into it. But now she's wondering if Abby was just an afterthought to him the whole time. International Texan 71 jumps in with some strong advice. They say, unacceptable. I wouldn't give the boys a choice right now. I would pack up all 3 kids. Say, we're going to see Tia and drive, and then have one-on-one conversations with each one about this so-called boys trip. Not the a-hole, but you apparently married one. And then there's a comment from Laura that just cuts straight through everything. Laura says, so your husband basically hates your daughter. There is no excuse for him taking the boys and not Abby to Six Flags, and then to be upset that instead of spending the day crying in her room, she actually had some fun. Yikes. I guess his goal was to make her miserable, and you interfered by being a good parent. Your husband needs to get his head out of his ass and realize he has 3 kids, not 2. I hope you will not let him continue to treat Abby this way. I seriously doubt this was the first time. And Op doesn't argue with any of this, because honestly, what could she say? The pattern is there. Think about it. The camping weekend versus Denny's. The Six Flags trip with the boys, and Abby not even allowed to come. And then when Mom tries to make it up to her, Dad gets angry. Not neutral, not conflicted. Angry enough to try to take away a stuffed bear from a 14-year-old girl. That's not normal. That's not just boys trip energy. That's something else. The commenters are picking up on something deeper. Gender disappointment, they called it. The idea that he wanted 3 boys and got 2 boys and a girl, and somehow that girl is treated like she doesn't fully belong. And the fact that he won't explain himself, that's huge. If he had a good reason, he'd say it. If he thought he was right, he'd defend it. But he won't. He just says it's not right and shuts down. That's not the behavior of someone who's confident in their position. That's the behavior of someone who knows they're wrong but doesn't want to admit why. What's really sad is Abby seems like a good kid. She looks up to her dad. She wanted to tell him about her weekend because she thought he'd be happy for her. And instead he got cold. He tried to take her bare. He's giving her the silent treatment. For what? For having fun with her mom while he was gone. Here's the thing that gets me. If Josh had just said, hey, I'm sorry, I overreacted, this might be a different story. But he didn't. He doubled down. He went cold. He's punishing his daughter for something she didn't even do wrong. And the Denny's detail, that one really sticks. Because it shows this isn't a one-time mistake. It's a pattern. The boys get the big, exciting trips. Abby gets the consolation prize after. And Mom didn't even notice until now because she was trying to see the best in him. But the community saw it. And now she's seeing it too. Yeah, this keeps getting worse. So Op starts adding more details in the comments. And some of these details, yeah, they're not great. First off, that Six Flags trip wasn't just a day thing. It was from Friday to Tuesday, 4 days. And it was the one in Maryland, not Great America, not that it really matters. But the key part here is that as far as she knows, the boys didn't bring anyone else. No cousins, no friends, no uncles, just Josh and his 2 sons. So the whole boys' trip thing wasn't about some bigger gathering. It was deliberately just the 3 of them. And here's something that actually makes this mom seem really reasonable. She clarifies that she has her own car, her own bank account, and all 3 kids have college savings set aside. She's not financially trapped, which is good because you'll see why that matters later. She also makes a point to say she spends individual time with each kid. Mark and her go to Olive Garden or the arcade. Liam's not really a restaurant person, so they do mac and cheese nights at home or go to museums he likes. She says, "I promise I don't only focus on Abby." And honestly, you can tell she's thought about this. She's trying to be fair. But then there's this other detail. The house they live in, it was inherited by Josh from his grandmother before they got married, before they moved in together. So the title is in his name only. She says, because of that, I don't think I could legally force him out. And you can hear the concern in her voice just typing that out. Normally, though, she says he includes her in everything. If he's planning a trip, she's usually the first person he brings in before they even tell the kids. So this boys' trip, it was the first time he shut her out. And that's thrown her off because he's never acted like this before. But then she starts remembering things. Small things she either forgot or didn't give much thought to at the time. And now they feel more concerning. Here's one. After the triplets were born, he once made a joke. He said he almost won the jackpot, but was 1 bar off and lost everything. Think about that. He had 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl, and his joke was that he almost got all boys but got a girl instead, and that's losing everything. She only asked him about it once, and he never repeated it. But looking back now, she wonders if it was a sexist dig about not getting 3 boys. Yeah. She also mentions that before he left for 6 Flags, she actually asked him if he was going to take Abby anywhere separately. And he flat out said no, not maybe later, not we'll see, just no. He seemed frustrated, but she thought maybe he was just distracted by packing. Now she's not so sure. She says, I don't know why he'd treat Abby this way. She's a good kid, and she looks up to her dad. She'd never want to disappoint him. And then she adds something that's honestly heartbreaking. She says, I honestly hope he doesn't secretly think she isn't his, because with triplets, that's not even biologically possible. She's grasping for explanations. Any explanation. Because the alternative is that her husband just doesn't value their daughter the same way he values their sons. As for his personality in general, she says he's very against social media, even things like YouTube. And as far as she knows, he doesn't have any mental health issues. Unless he's been hiding something, she thinks this is just him. Just him. That's a heavy phrase. She says she started thinking more seriously about therapy. For herself. For Abby. Maybe for the family if he'll go. And she's also considering asking her sister if Abby and her can stay there for a while. Because right now, she doesn't want Josh around Abby. And honestly, she feels uncomfortable being around him herself after seeing how he treated their daughter. You can feel the shift happening in real time as she writes these comments. She's moving from confusion to concern to genuine fear. Not fear of physical violence necessarily, but fear of what he's capable of emotionally. Fear of what this means for her family. And the worst part, she still doesn't have an answer. He won't explain. He just says it's not right and shuts down. So she's left there, in that house that's in his name, with 3 kids, one of whom he seems to resent for reasons he won't even articulate. That's not a marriage. That's not even a partnership. That's walking on eggshells in your own home while someone you trusted starts showing you a side you never knew existed. And the community, they're watching this unfold and they're worried. Because when a parent tries to take away a child's comfort object over a spa day, and when that same parent has a history of treating one kid like an afterthought, that's not a red flag anymore. That's a pattern. So 3 months pass, and then Op comes back with an update. And honestly, it's not the kind of update anyone wanted to read. She takes the kids and goes to her sister's house. All 3 of them. Mark and Liam protest because they're kids and they don't fully understand what's happening, but she tells them it's not their choice to make. And when she tells Josh they're leaving for a while, his response is, well, it's something. He literally says, fine, as long as I can keep the boys with me. Think about that for a second. His wife is taking their children and leaving, and his first concern isn't where are you going, or what did I do, or please don't go. It's can I keep the boys, not Abby. Just the boys. An argument escalates. And when I say escalates, I mean it gets bad enough that police have to intervene. She says he didn't get physical, but he was verbally aggressive toward all of them. The cops had to calm him down. And she says, I think that was the moment I realized I couldn't do it anymore and decided it was over for us. She's able to force him into family therapy with the help of his own family. And here's the thing, his family is appalled by his behavior. They don't understand what's happening either. So it's not like they're taking his side. They're just as confused as she is. But the therapy session, it goes about as well as you'd expect. The therapist asks Abby to speak. And this 14-year-old girl, who's been left out and treated like an afterthought and had her bear almost taken away, she asks her dad directly. She looks at him and asks why he didn't let her go on the trip, and why he got upset that she spent the day with her mom. That's such a brave thing to do. A kid shouldn't have to ask their parent why they're being treated differently. But she did, she asked. And Josh, he refuses to speak. He just walks out of the session. He walks out on his daughter in therapy, where the whole point is to try to fix things. Then it gets worse. He blocks both his wife and his daughter, his own child. He cuts off communication completely. And the last thing she hears from him, he texts Liam, his son, and tells Liam to tell his mom that he expects custody of both the boys if they divorce. Not Abby, just the boys. She says, I still don't understand what's going on with him, and neither does his family. And that's the really unsettling part, right? There's no explanation, no hidden trauma reveal, no big moment where everything clicks and you go, oh, that's why. Just silence, just rejection, just a father who seems to have decided that one of his children doesn't matter. She talks to all the kids separately. Abby says nothing happened between her and her dad. She's confused about why he hates her. And that word, hates, that's the word a 14-year-old is using about her own father. Liam and Mark tell her that Josh convinced them to not want Abby on the trip. He told them it was a father-son trip and that Abby would ruin the dynamic. And he said he would cancel the whole trip if she came along. So the boys went along with it. They're 14. What are they supposed to do? Disobey their dad when he's holding the whole trip hostage? As for what happened on the trip, nothing dramatic. They spent most of their time at Six Flags. The worst thing that happened was they didn't have sunscreen. That's it. No secret drama. No reason Abby couldn't have been there except that Josh didn't want her there. Now, they're still living with the sister. Mark and Liam are sharing a room and have gotten used to it. Abby, she's shaken up. And sometimes her mom catches her blaming herself for all of this. Blaming herself. A 14-year-old girl thinks it's her fault that her dad doesn't want her. That's the kind of damage that doesn't just go away. That's the kind of thing that stays with you. Her mom makes sure to remind her it's not her fault. But you can say that 100 times, and a kid might still not believe it. All 3 kids are on a wait list for individual therapy. Mom is considering it for herself too, but right now she's focusing on them. She's looking into housing options. She'd love to keep the house, but she doesn't know if that's possible. She's looking at apartments as backup. She's hoping the divorce goes smoothly, but she can already see Josh dragging it out as long as possible. She's monitoring Mark and Liam's text messages in case their dad tries to pit them against her or Abby. She's not sure how the boys really feel about their dad. She's tried to talk to them a couple times, but they don't want to talk about it. Abby has almost stopped interacting with them entirely. The family therapist thinks it might be out of guilt, like she feels responsible for the family falling apart. She keeps to herself now. Back in school, she spends most of her time doing extra work and studying. Mark and Liam have just given up trying to get her to hang out. Mom is going for full custody, or at least nothing more than supervised visits. She's going to talk to her attorney about a psych evaluation because his own family doesn't agree with his behavior and they have the therapy session as proof. He still won't talk to Abby or his wife. And honestly, She's fine with that now. She knows Abby misses her dad, but she thinks even Abby realizes she's better off without him. That's where things stand. Not wrapped up in a bow, not resolved. Just a mom trying to hold her family together while one member of that family has decided to tear it apart. And you just feel for all of them. Even the boys who are caught in the middle, even Abby who never asked for any of this. Yeah, this one's heavy. Okay, let's switch gears a little because the next story is a different kind of messy. Still frustrating, but in a more dating in your 20s kind of way. So there's this 21-year-old woman. She's been seeing a guy for about 2 months, 4 or 5 dates so far. He lives in the town over from her college town. And her town, it's mostly bikes and buses. Most students don't have cars. She doesn't either. They make plans to go to this bar that has mini golf in his town. He says they can meet at 7 p.m., but he can't pick her up because he gets off work at 6. His town is about a 30-minute drive from hers. That's fine, she says. She'll take the bus. She's never been to this part of town before, by the way, so she takes 2 buses. Gets there around 7:15. They have fun. She drinks a bit. He doesn't drink, and she thinks that's because he'll be driving her home later. Makes sense, right? Around 11 p.m., they decide to wrap things up. And then he just says, "Good night, we'll plan something later." She's confused. She asks if he's driving her home, and he says no. He's too tired after his 6-hour shift. Wait, 6-hour shift, and he's too tired to drive 30 minutes. But he wasn't too tired for mini golf and hanging out for 4 hours. Now she's panicking. The buses don't run that late between their towns. She tells him that, and he just shrugs. She asks why he didn't drink then, since he wasn't planning to drive. And he says he just wasn't feeling it. Had work tomorrow. So her only option left is an Uber, an expensive Uber. She doesn't have that much money, but what else can she do? She tells him she'll take an Uber, and he says okay. And then he leaves, says good night and walks away. She's alone, in a public plaza kind of area, close to midnight, in a part of town she's never been to, waiting 10 minutes for an Uber. And she's thinking, he couldn't even stay until the car got here. She gets home safe, thankfully. But she's $50 poorer and feeling pretty uncared for. And she starts wondering if she's overreacting by not wanting to see him again. She goes online and asks, would I be the a-hole if I broke things off with a guy because he wouldn't drive me home? And the community response, pretty unanimous. One commenter says, I was at a show a few weeks ago, and a group of girls I had just met like 20 minutes prior all waited for my Uber with me because it was late and nobody else was on the street. This guy's an ass. Another one, salary $42.78, puts it bluntly, girl, if a man can watch you struggle to get home late at night and not even pretend to care, he's not someone you need in your life. Ditch him. You deserve way better. And Scared Caterpillar 136 says, the fact that he did not care to wait for you to get into the Uber safely is the dagger. I would advise if you are depending on someone to drive you back, communicate it beforehand. You will end up in safer situations more often. That last one's fair about communication, but still, the lack of basic concern, that's not a miscommunication, that's a character thing. Think about it. He knew she took 2 buses to get there. He knew she'd been drinking. He knew it was late. He knew she was in an unfamiliar area, and he still left her there alone, didn't offer to wait, didn't offer to split the Uber, didn't even seem bothered. And the worst part, he didn't drink. So it's not like he couldn't drive because he'd been drinking. He just didn't want to because he was tired after a 6-hour shift. Look, nobody is obligated to be someone's chauffeur. If he'd said up front, hey, I can't drive you home, so make sure you have a plan, that would be different. Then she could have budgeted for the Uber or left earlier to catch the last bus. But he didn't say that. He let her assume, and then he just walked away. There's something about watching someone struggle, especially late at night, especially in an unfamiliar place, and just shrugging. That's not forgetfulness. That's not being tired. That's just not caring. And the community saw it immediately. That comment about a group of strangers waiting together for an Uber, that's the thing. People who don't even know you will show more concern than this guy showed for someone he'd been dating for 2 months. Yeah, that's a red flag factory. So she posts an update a few days later, and she's actually pretty self-aware about the whole thing. She admits she should have confirmed the ride beforehand. She says she originally thought he'd drive her home because he'd done it once before when it was late, and when he only mentioned not being able to pick her up, but nothing about dropping her off, she just assumed. She takes the blame for that part. Fair enough. She also didn't know that the bus between towns stopped running at 10 p.m. If she had known, she would have checked the schedule or left earlier. So she's not pretending she did everything right. But here's where she draws the line. She says she's not really that upset that he couldn't drive her home. Annoyed in the moment, sure. But what really bothers her is that he showed zero concern. Didn't stay for the Uber. Didn't even seem to care how she'd get back. And then his behavior after, that's what seals it. He texts her about 20 minutes after she gets home, asking if she got back safe. She's exhausted and doesn't respond. The next day he sends her memes, morning and afternoon, then stops. That evening he asks if she's mad at him and says he was just tired. She finally responds, tells him she's not mad about the ride itself, since she didn't confirm, but she's disappointed he didn't stay for the Uber. She says, "I would have just felt a lot safer with you there." His response, "Again, I was just tired. You ended up okay, it was fine." No apology. "No, you're right, I should have stayed." Just dismissal. Then he immediately moves on. Says he already has a place to take her next time, a restaurant a few miles from his house. "Let's do a reservation at 8 p.m. on Saturday, then drinks, then a movie." She almost asks if she should start saving up for an Uber back, but instead she just tells him his actions made her feel uncared for and she's not interested in a sixth date. And suddenly he's serious. "Wait, you're serious? If I'd known it was such a big deal, I would have stayed for the Uber." That line. If I'd known it was such a big deal. How did he not know? Leaving someone alone at midnight in an unfamiliar area is objectively a big deal. He shouldn't need to be told that. He promises to drive her home next time, but she's done. She doesn't want to date someone who has to be forced into basic decency. She doesn't want someone who only does the right thing because he thinks he has to, so she ends it. And honestly, good for her. Now, just to cleanse the palate a little, there's a short mood booster at the end of the original script. It's from a security guard at Fort Lee, Virginia, during a heat wave. A lieutenant told them they couldn't drink water in plain sight, only inside the guardhouse. Heat index was 110 degrees. So the guard takes IDS from a car with 4 colonels inside, walks to the guardhouse, takes a long drink from his camelback, then comes back. The colonel asks what that was about. Guard explains. 20 minutes later, the lieutenant drives around to all the gates and announces they can now drink water in plain sight. Sometimes, you just need the right person to see the nonsense. If you made it this far, you clearly enjoy these messy real-life stories. I've got more ready for you right here. Just tap the screen. And hey, if you don't want to miss the next one, hit that subscribe button. It actually helps more than you'd think. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Seriously, see you in the next one.